Today, just because even though it's week 3, it still feels really early, and so I just wanted to go over a couple things. Last semester, a couple of my students said that it would be helpful, whether it was the beginning or the end of class, just to kind of review the assignments that are coming up, just to make sure that we're clear. And today, I think it makes sense to review it at the beginning, because our exercise today is going to be essentially the exact same thing that you guys will do at home today. So I wanted to go over what we're doing from beginning to end, and then just know that you'll be doing something really similar at home this week for your homework. So for your questions and your assignments are already posted, but you can see it's not available. I have them set to unlock at 5. That'll just give me a minute to do a couple quick adjustments in case there's like a couple questions that we didn't get to, or maybe somebody asked a question that I'm like, hey, maybe that would be a good question. So I just want to review stuff before I officially unlock it for you guys. But if you log into Canvas today, you guys will see that we have an exercise, and essentially what we're doing, I'm going to just go through this quickly. There's a link in here, and last semester I found this website called 61 Custom, and it has these tiny little homes that I think are just perfect to use to model in our classes. So that's what we kind of use as a base plan for today. So we'll go over that, and then you'll also notice that, so again, this is under exercise, and just to review, exercises are what we work on together in class, and sometimes it's due at the end of class, but this one in particular, I'm giving you until next week to turn in along with your homework. So if you don't finish up today, a couple of you are leaving, some people aren't even here today, you guys will have until next week to turn that in. And then under assignments, it's going to be basically the same thing, except we're going to be using a different house model. So you'll see that this house is a little bit different than this house right here. So we'll come back to that a little bit later, but I just wanted to let you guys know where we were heading. Part of what we'll be doing today, we'll do kind of a hard stop at some point, and I will go over how to print. I think that more than half of you guys really have it down, and then other people, there's just like a couple things that were missed. So you may have printed it correctly, but it wasn't on the title block. And so again, there's like 25% of you that just might need a little bit of a brush up on it. So we'll do it together today in class. For the exercises, what we'll be printing, whether it's ready or not, will essentially be 1, 2, 3, 4 sheets. Okay, and again, before we go, we'll take a look at exactly what those 4 sheets will be. So this is already public to you guys, so if you wouldn't mind hopping in here, so you have that link available to you. Again, this is where we're starting today. And believe it or not, we're going to go through everything essentially from the top again. Revit is basically one of those things that the more you practice, you won't even have to think about it. So really our goal here is to make these first few things that we start off with to really become intuitive, because I mean, obviously for me, it's really easy to say, hey, well, look at this menu or look at that menu, or of course this is where you right click, because I've looked at it day in and day out for how many years, and you guys have only looked at it for 3 classes. And so I think by doing these exercises together, sooner than later, you guys won't even need my guidance to know where to look. But it takes you a minute to know the difference between, wait, was that a right click? Was that in a properties menu? Or was that up in my ribbon? So again, if you guys already have it down perfectly, good on ya. You'll just move a little bit faster, but just know that some of our friends in here, including your teacher, we could stand a review just to make sure that there weren't some things I skipped over. Or I might do it a little bit differently and you're like, oh, I liked it that way better. Okay? So bear with me while we do some review. I think that's it as far as where we're going today and for the next week. We will be going over essentially walls, windows, and doors again this week. So it'll be a little bit faster since we've already visited those topics twice. And then in addition to that, we are going to start playing with roofs today and some stairs. Not too in depth, but just enough so you know kind of where they live and how to edit them. And then once we get into our next project is when we'll really do it in depth. So you can start doing some custom stuff. Not to say that you won't be able to do that today, but I won't necessarily go over like code issues or like if your roof looks funky. I'm not going to be like, oh, your roof looks weird. If you have a roof or a stair, high five. That's what I'm looking for today, a roof or a stair. And then we'll worry about the actual design and function of it a little bit later. Okay. So if I were at home, I hope that you guys have gotten into the habit of when you start a project, we go with the architectural template. And again, just a quick review, the reason why we do that is within this template, we have a lot of things already built into it that are specific to the way we design as interior designers and architects. So a lot of the annotation, some of the menus that are already built in, things like that. So that's where we want to start. And this should be the screen that we always see. And although I just started the project, there's one other thing I was going to mention, and I'm sorry I forgot. So let's go ahead and just get your thing open. I wanted to mention again the class schedule. So I try to get back to your questions as soon as I can. And this morning I had at least a handful of panicked calls, emails, texts, messages online, and I will try my best to get back to you. But just know that Wednesday mornings are a pretty full day. And so if you could find another time in the week, wait, huh? Yeah, see, example right here. Wednesday, last minute is not the time you want me to be helping you. That doesn't mean that you can't ask the question, but let me just apologize in advance if I'm not able to get back to you. So I just noticed I think I have 3 messages that were sent after about 10 a.m. today that I didn't get to, but I do try to get back to you as soon as I can. So don't panic. Don't leave it until the last minute, especially these first few weeks as you're kind of trying to get the hang of everything. So just hop into it a little bit earlier so I feel a little bit less guilt. So I didn't see exactly what the messages were, but I know that there's 3 unread waiting for me. There's 3 big red dots. So anyway, hopping back into this. So here's our first project. And let's talk about how we're going to set up our project today, because we have this kind of a plan that we're working with. And what I want you guys to think about is, let's just not think about this as a random project we found online, but there's several different instances where we might have a project like this. So one of them might be in school. For a lot of your classes, an instructor might ask you to design something. Like in your codes class, I know you have to design a space. In your professional practice, you have to design something too. So it could just be your own design like this, where you've gone through and you've sketched a floor plan. You don't know exactly how big these windows are, but you know this is about where you want them to go and the sizes of the room. Okay, sorry for the pause. We've got some ghosts in our room. So think of it as not just a design that you guys found online that we're going to work through, but maybe it's a sketch that you've created that you need to use for another class. Or it could be a sketch that a homeowner gives to you, like, hey, this is my house, I want you to work on it. A lot of times it might not even be a homeowner. It could be another designer, somebody who's well established that doesn't know how to turn on a computer. And they're like, oh, intern, save my life. Put this into the electronic box for me. So there will be many times where you will get something just like this. So imagine this is maybe a sketch, maybe something that you put together. Now, the one thing that we don't have today is we don't have the luxury of scale. So it's not like I could print this off and say, okay, here's the scale. We could probably fake it, but the thing is because I did find this online, I can't necessarily even trust that the dimensions are accurate, as you guys will find. You might even find plans yourself that says that they're to scale and you pull out your scale and it isn't. So I will say that there will be a gratuitous amount of eyeballing today, and that's okay. We're going to get to the exact stuff with our next project. Right now we're still in the mode of just basic modeling, like where does everything live? How do we edit it? Where do we go from here? So to start us off, we know that we at least have a basic plan to work with, okay? Where we got it, let's not worry about it. But we do know we can make some calculations based off of what we see. So this bedroom is 13 feet by 12 feet. And then essentially adjacent to that, we have this 15.5 by 13. So we don't know how big anything in here is, but I think that we can guess that, this could be anywhere from 1 feet to 2 feet, right? So we're going to draw another wall here. And then this wall right here, it looks like it's middle-ish, right? So again, this is kind of where we're taking a little bit of our artistic freedom here, trying to figure out exactly how this lays out. And it gives us an overall size that we could start with as well, if we needed to. So it's almost a perfect square, not quite. And then we could look here to see if there is additional information, but let's see what helps us. So we know that there's 2x6 construction. It has 9-foot ceilings. So last semester I didn't even look at this. I was just like, let's just guess what it is. But here we go. We've got some more information right here. So again, this is kind of up to us and how we work. It's like, okay, where are we going to get this information? Is it something that I come up with as the designer? Oh, that was embarrassing. I tried turning off my phone and I did that thing where it was like, where's my phone? So again, this information, do you as the designer have it? Does the lead designer have it? Does it already exist and you need to go measure it on site somewhere? But either way, we're going to find that information. And today it just happens to live here online for us. So with that, let's just know that it does have a 9-foot ceiling. But when we come back and look at this plan here, we kind of have to, decide amongst ourselves, where's the 9 feet? Is the 9 feet here? Or is it back there and then it starts to slope up? Those are some decisions that we'll make together today too. And there's obviously 2 roof lines going on as well. But to help start us off, let's go ahead and just start with the basic project. And looking at this right here, I hope you guys don't mind. I want to write these things on the board in case it's not obvious to begin with. But when we go into Revit, and sorry for you guys at home, you might hear me a little bit, probably not well, and you don't see what I'm writing, but that's okay. Just bear with me. So let's think about the first couple things. If you guys were at home thinking about this, what's one note that you might make? Like, okay, when I start this project, remember X. What's the first thing that you'd like to remember? And this is different. It's not like a perfect order. We can make it a perfect order, but information can come to us in an imperfect order because Revit is very forgiving. Like if we don't know the wall type to begin with, we could skip over that for now. So let's say we don't know the wall type. Okay, so I'll just do wall type, and I'll put a question mark, but we'll come back and fill that in later. What do we know about the walls though? Remember under additional information? Okay, good. So that's under wall type. Good. You guys did remember that. So we'll do 2x6. Okay. And then what else do we know about the walls? The height. Yep. So wall height, they said it was at 9 feet, right? That's where the ceilings were. So we know that. And then taking a look at our plan. So Vince, you mentioned that it's 2x6 construction. Do you think that every wall in this project would be the 2x6? Probably not. So we have 2x6 on the exterior, right? So I'll do 2x6. I think it even said stucco exterior. And then for the interior, we can just do a generic wall type. Now, I would assume that because this is a really small residential construction project, that it's most likely wood framing with just some drywall on either side. So we'll start off with those two wall types. So the 2x6 stucco exterior, and then we'll just do wood framing for the interior. And we'll build all those together. We know the wall height is 9 feet. And other than that, I don't think there's anything that I really need to write down. Do you think that's good? Is there anything I may have missed? That was not a trick question. I'm being genuine. I think we got it all to begin with. So pretty typical start. Now I have to move this over onto the other side. So I will try to pop it back over every once in a while so you guys can kind of see what I'm working on. And I have stolen your screen too, so you'll be a little bit blind to begin with, but just trust me on this one. So first let's start off with just creating our wall types so that when we go to draw them in, we're drawing them in with the correct walls. So to do that, we click on wall, and from here, if we started drawing, do you see how it goes into the basic wall generic 8 inches? Sarah, did you lose your screen? That is so weird. Did it power off? So the one on the right is...
Over there too.
Has this happened before and I blocked it out? Let me see. Dustin, quick, kicking her screen. Just kidding. All right, so now you'll be able to follow along with us. But to make a new wall, essentially what I did is I went in as if I were going to draw a new wall so I could get into this wall properties menu. So by default, it's at our basic wall, generic 8 inches. But what I want to do is I can start with a generic wall and make a brand new one, or I can just hop in. Let's start with the interior wall. So I can grab any one of my interior walls, and from here, if I wanted to customize it, what would I need to click on? Good. So if I click on Edit Type, this menu pops up. I'm going to give you guys a minute to get there. And when you guys get here, go ahead and click on Preview too. Bottom left-hand corner, it just gives you kind of a graphic view of what this looks like. So again, bottom left-hand corner, it should say Preview, and if you click on it, it'll pop it off to the side. Good. And then once we're here, should we go ahead and just start editing the wall? Yeah. Okay, good. We want to click on Duplicate. And the thing is, we can name this whatever we want. And so a lot of times, if you are going through like the city or something like that, they're going to want to know what your wall types are. So a lot of firms, they will actually name all of their walls like W1, W2, W3. So like wall 1, wall 2, wall 3. And they won't even put like the interior, exterior. And then other firms will go so far as to call it like WS 63675, and that would be so wall, and then S would be stud, and then whatever information. So it can get really intricate. But for today, just for practice sake, why don't we call this W1, and then we'll do a dash, and we'll just call this interior framing wood. There are some residential projects, especially if it's like some sort of a condo, it could by code be required to be a metal stud, but we're just going to say that it's wood framing. And then once you have that, go ahead and click OK. So far the only thing that we've done is we've duplicated an existing wall and renamed it. But physically and the structure, we haven't changed anything, right? Do you guys know where to go to change the actual structure of it? What I would click on? Yeah, so right here under Parameter, there's something called Structure. And if we click on Edit, it pops up this menu here. And this just gives me a preview of the wall that's been created. So because this was a metal stud, the thickness of it is 3 5/8 inches. And if I wanted to be ridiculous, I could make this 13 inches. Whoops. And it got really, really big, so I can't see the whole thing. Let's do zoom to fit. Okay. I hope you never have a wall that thick, but just letting you know that because it's a BIM modeling, it just does everything at once for you. So when I change it here, it updates it there. But since we're doing wood framing, the way that you can put it in, this is kind of a shortcut, do 0 space, that means 0 feet, and then do 3.5. So I'm just going to hang out there for a minute. Okay, so 0 space and then 3.5. And then when I click off of it, it just automatically knows, okay, that was 3.5 inches. So sometimes knowing to put in the 0 first is helpful, because if not, if you just put in 3.5, it will think that you meant, oh, that's a 3.5 foot wall. So that's why that 0 is handy. So again, 0 space 3.5, enter. There's 3.5 there. And this is no longer a metal stud. Now this isn't even detrimental at this point. You could leave it a metal stud. The only thing that happens here is that if you were to go model it and like cut a section, it would show up as if it was metal. So just out of good habit, let's click, if you click on where it says metal stud, go ahead and click on these 3 dots next to it. And what this allows us to do is to pick a new material for it. So we'll see this menu later when we're trying to do some fancy rendering stuff. But again, in case you missed it, wood stud, if I click in here, over to the right, this new box appears, kind of like that dot, 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 continue this thought. So click there, here's this, and under the search menu, go ahead and just type in wood so you don't have to go through everything. And really, you could pick any of these, it would be fine. The correct one would be softwood lumber. Pamela, did I see a hand pop up?
Yes, thank you. At the beginning of this, that screen that you were in.
I wish I could see what you're, this one right here?
Yes.
Yep.
How do I get to that screen?
Okay, so what I did here, let me go ahead and click OK. So what I did, I went and to very beginning, I went to wall.
I've got that.
Okay.
So I'm at where we duplicate. I've named my wall.
Got it. So what you want to do you see your preview? Good. So where we were under structure, do you see the button that says edit?
Perfect.
We are editing the structure to make it custom.
I was looking for edit down here. I apologize.
Yep, you're great. You're right behind us. Okay. So softwood lumber, and you can see that it changed it graphically. And then we're going to go ahead and keep our gypsum at 5/8 of an inch. There might be projects where you have to go down to a 1/2 inch, or you might just want to do like a skim coat of something. So you could even go down to like, they have 1/8 inch or even 1/4 inch sheetrock if you wanted to. But for now, it's just basic construction. So we'll do the 5/8 of an inch. Okay, everybody with me so far? All right, so there's our first wall. Now for our second wall, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. We know that the exterior of this house that we're creating is going to be stucco, and it's 2x6 framing. So let's come over here, and I know that under our exterior walls, I think we did some of this last week, there's one called EFIS, and that's the one that we want to find and edit to be our new stucco wall. But we're going to make this really simple construction. Yeah, do you know?
Naima, where did we leave that last one then?
We just hit, we clicked on OK. So,
Where is it now?
oh, look, it's no, W1. It's there. Now it lives with all of its friends in our wall menu.
Oh, so it'll be down,
Mhm.
pulled down. Okay,
Yep.
got it.
Yeah, so it's there with all of its buddies. If you didn't hit OK, if you hit cancel, it might not be, but it's just kind of hanging out right now. So for this next one, go ahead and find the exterior EFIS one. And then remind me again, I've selected it, but I want to make it custom. So what do I hit? Good, edit type. And this is something that you will do not just for walls, but windows, doors. There's even some furniture components that you might do this with. So basically anything that's a component or something called a family that we'll get into a little bit later, but it's kind of this blanket thing that we can do. Okay, so now I'm here. I see a preview of it. Should I go ahead and start changing the structure? Oh, you guys are so good. I want to duplicate it first. Okay. Let me name this one W2 exterior stucco. We'll keep that one simple. Once you have it named, let's see, Pamela, I'm going to ask you, how do I edit the wall so it's custom to what I need it to be? Because right now the only thing I've done is renamed it.
Whatever you want it to change, you're going to click on to that. Is that correct? So
Help me from where I am. So right now, I just see the wall. So I've changed the name, which is great, but I want to change the physical structure of it. Good. Yep, so I'm looking for edit. And now you can see what this wall is actually made of. And so this is where I can start editing. So for the EFIS exterior insulation, let's change the thickness down to 2 inches first. And delete the thermal air layer and the membrane layer for me. So you click on it over. So over here on the side, do you see these numbers? This allows you to select the whole row. I'm wondering, even if you click into the row, like if I just click in here, I can hit delete and it gets rid of that whole layer. Okay, we'll keep our substrate at 3/4 inches. We'll keep the core boundary. Here, it did say it was a 6-inch wall, but we can still do wood construction here. So let's change the metal stud to wood. I'll let you guys do that. And I'm going to shout out one last thing. For your gypsum board, I want it to be 5/8 of an inch to match what's going on the inside. And I'm just going to pause and hover. Cord. Yeah, so when you're done, as long as everything matches up to what you guys see here, click on OK. And then click OK again to get out of that menu. And then you'll see it be activated over here on the left side. I'm still not drawing, but if I pull it down, you can see that these two just live right here next to each other at the very bottom. They're kind of in their exclusive W club down at the end. It's in alphabetical order, so that should make it a little bit easier. So right now, Revit is waiting for me to draw a wall, but I'm going to hit escape. I'm going to kind of psych it out and say, I just went into the wall menu to edit my walls. Before I start drawing my walls, I want to do one other thing. What do you guys think that is? So right now, if I were to draw my wall, what's kind of missing from it?
Oh, you gotta select the center line.
Yep, we could do the center line, but even a little bit further back, because remember, we're drawing in 3D now. So if we were drawing on a piece of paper, we could draw lines that were walls, and it was just, okay, they're just lines. Yeah.
You have to set up the levels in the elevation.
Perfect. Yep, that's what I'm looking for. So right now, if we started to draw walls, I don't want to go through it. We did it last week. So do you guys mind if I just verbally walk you through what would happen? So if I were to start drawing a wall, so I type in WA, it would be 20 feet and unconnected. It kind of goes into nowhere. But we know for this particular example that we want a wall that has at least a 9-foot ceiling, and then it's going to go up to the roof. We don't even have a second level in this particular project. We'll add one just for fun. But for now, you know, the walls that we draw would kind of just be floating in nowhere. So I'd like to do that first, but I do like your answers that you're thinking about wall center line. So before we get to that part, let's fix our elevation. Let's do this though. So because we're borrowing from the internet, we have this design that we're starting with. And this will be our 9-foot marker right here. But let's also create one extra level before we're done. Maybe what we can do is we can pull up the height of this ceiling right here and make like a little loft space above either, I don't know the plan very well, but like where like the bathrooms are. Oh, no, the plan's right here, Naima. Hello. So maybe we can pop up the ceiling so that this is just like a huge living room with like a really big ceiling. But then up here we get like a little studio space up there. What do you guys think? Okay, so let's do 9-foot ceilings here. And then we'll create a studio level too. So again, sketching helps just so we know where we're going. But let's call, we're going to have our ground floor. And do you guys remember where we start our ground floor? 100. 100, good. So we're going to start at 100 so that if we have a basement, it won't be -10. So this way our basement can be at 90. We don't have a basement, but that's why we start at 100. Now let's think like we're real estate agents here. We're going to make our level 1 be really fancy. What would you guys call it? Think about real
floor,
I mean, I've heard silly things. I guess I'm being somewhat silly, but I've heard like promenade level or like, I mean, street levels. We'll call it main level. I'll just call it main level. What I was just trying to prove here is Revit doesn't care what you name it, but it'll rename everything to match. So if you wanted to be, you know, a little bougie and call your main level promenade level, you can do that and it'll go ahead and update everything for you. So we've got our main level at 100, and we know that our ceiling height is set to be 9 feet. So this is going to be 109. So this will be let's just call it our ceiling. Okay. But that's not necessarily, the ceiling isn't where the next floor is, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to put our floor at 110. So let's call this our loft level. Okay. So we've got our main level at 100. We've got our ceiling at 109. We've got our loft level at 110. And then with the loft, I don't think we need to go up to 9 feet just because it's going to be really vaulted. We can just, let's see if we can get away with that at 8 feet, and then we can adjust it a little bit. So with our loft level, now I'm running into stuff. Let me delete this. I think we got all of this done. For our next part, let's do our actual ceiling, or sorry, our roof. Let's start that at 118. Okay. Let's get those to begin with. Excuse me. Okay, so to do our levels, where would I go from here? Right now I'm in floor plan level 1. Where should I go? Yep, I'll pick an elevation. By default, I usually just go to the east view because that's what's there. So I've got level 1, I've got level 2. I'm going to go ahead and create these, and you guys can kind of go off on your own since you have the numbers right behind you. Just a word of warning, since we're at 0 right now, when I change this to 100, it's going to jump all the way up over here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Whoops. See, there mine goes, but I'll catch up in just a minute. Oh, sorry, one thing I didn't mention. Don't make the ceiling level yet. So do main, loft, and roof. And I'm going to show you a little different way to do the ceiling level. So when you want to create a new level, there's 2 ways of doing it. One just lives in your architecture menu. There's level over here on the far right side. And I'm sorry, whoever texted me in a panic earlier today, I hope this made sense in a text message. You can see that the shortcut is LL. Do you see when I hover on it, it pulls up a little sub menu. So sometimes some of these things will have a shortcut. So right now if I type in LL, I can pull up that level, and this one right here I'm going to rename. Instead of it being level 3, I want it to be roof, and I want it to be at 118. Okay, what is another shortcut I can do to create a level? CS, good. So create similar. So if I were to click on any of these, if I type in CS, it creates something similar. Now, do you guys mind peeking up here real quick on my screen? So not up here, I'm sorry. Look at my example screen for just a moment. And I'm going to show you how you can create elevations like this ceiling level that doesn't necessarily need a floor plan. It just needs an elevation. So right now, as I created the loft level, see how it made a floor plan? That makes sense because I need a floor plan for my loft. But when I create my ceiling level, that doesn't really make sense because if you look down here, I already have ceiling plans created for those. But what I do want is I want to create an elevation so that I can have a reference to where that ceiling goes. So what you can do, whether you go to LL for level, or if you go to create similar, it pulls up the same menu. But do you guys see over here that by default, there's something selected and it says make plan view? So if you deselect that, when I draw the level now, it just draws a level, but see how it didn't pop up anything over here? Where in the past, if I drew level 4 would automatically populate over here. You guys want me to show you that one more time?
Yes.
Okay. It's like I see people looking very intensely into their screens, but I don't see any look of like, oh, I get it. Let me do this one more time like this. I'm going to delete the roof level because I think this will help. So roof level is gone. And do you see that under floor plans, roof level is also gone? Okay, so this is how things typically work. LL or CS, either one. I come over here, I drag over. Level 5 is what I will use to make my roof. When I created that, do you see how level 5 populated here? Okay, and it also made a ceiling for level 5. Okay, I'm going to change this to be roof now. And would you like to rename corresponding views? Don't show me again, just do it. Yes, please. So now roof, roof, and this is at 118, enter. So far so good, right? Okay. The only thing that I did different to create my ceiling level, remember this is just a reference for me. So now when I type in LL or CS, either one, before I start drawing, do you see how there's this box right here that's checked that says make plan view? When I deselect that, it allows me to draw in a level for reference, but do you notice that there's no level 6 being drawn here? So now you can tell your walls to go up to a certain level or a certain height, but it doesn't mean it's going to draw a plan. So here's a good example of when you would use this. If you were ever working for like, a corporate office that had a whole bunch of half-height walls, what you could do is you could create a level that doesn't have a plan at, that 4 feet that everybody's desk needed, that little half-height wall. And so you could draw your wall and say, take it up to the desk height level. So it would take all your walls up to the desk height level that you just created, but it wouldn't actually make a plan for it. It's just there for your reference. Okay, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and call this level 1 ceiling, or main level ceiling. And I want this to be at 109 feet. And what I'll do, there's this weird little break symbol. Let me show you. When you click on the, if yours will probably be right on top of one another like mine is. You see this little break line symbol? It means add elbow. So if I click on that right here, that allows me to kind of move this out of the way. So I'm actually going to drag it here and then down here a little bit. Not the most graceful, but I'll take it for now. At least they're not on top of each other.
Can you show us how to do that?
The elbow? Yeah, sure. So go ahead and click on the actual elevation line. Actually, let me undo one more. There you go. So click on it, and it's that little tiny squiggly. So I think Darlene hit escape for me. So make sure, I didn't see this part, I could have been wrong. Click on the line so that the whole thing, yep. And then once the line is selected, it should be close to where this datum point is. Good. It can be a little bit sneaky the first time you see it. Okay. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to get in these 4 levels. So main level ceiling, loft level, and roof. I'm going to pause.
We can't see.
You can't see me?
Yeah. Thank you.
But you can you see the house?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I wanted to show you the house. That's what I meant. So right here where my cursor is, hopefully, can you see my cursor? Okay, this is where I'm going to start drawing from. So when I go into Revit, I'm going to start here and go over 13, and then how far would I come down? Yep, back over 13, and then how far down would I come? 13, yep, and then over 15 and a half, and then from there it gets a little bit sketchy, but we'll figure it out, okay? So this is what we're starting with. Now you'll see me go into Revit. You're fine. So I want to be drawing on my main level. and so do you. And hopefully you guys met me here, but if you just look at your floor plans, make sure you're at main level. Tell me again the shortcut to draw a wall. WA. And do you guys have to hit enter? No. So just type in WA. And that, my Revit didn't like that. I don't know what I was clicked on, but I did it again and it liked it. Now before I start drawing, let's check something. Do I have the correct wall type selected to start drawing?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to do my W2 exterior stucco. Okay, what else do I need to change? Yeah, my wall height right now, it's unconnected. And for this one, to be completely honest, I don't quite know where I'm going yet. So let me just take everything up to the roof. Okay, and I can fix those later, which is really nice. I'm going to go to the roof the whole way. And then what else? Yeah, location line. So for this example, I actually don't even know. Let's take a look. Let's say that these are interior finishes rather than exterior. Does that work? Because it's rare that the outside of the house gets perfect. Usually it's like the inside. I need this room to be that big. If it was exterior, then we would just move it finish face exterior. Not a big deal. Okay, so coming back into Revit. Again, I think I said I was starting from here. And, oh, I already did it wrong. So finish face interior. And I'm going to come over 13. Can you guys take a peek at my screen? Am I drawing it right?
I thought you said you were going to go from that.
So from this corner over. Yep. So, but as I'm drawing it, is this correct? What should I do to, or Dustin, first tell me why is it not correct? Okay.
The inside is the wrong.
Yeah. So, yep. So if you look at the reference I have, I'm starting from this corner and going this way. But the way Revit is drawing it, it's drawing my exterior wall essentially on the interior of my house. Do you guys remember how I can fix that? Spacebar. Close. Spacebar, the other shift. You're okay. I'm glad you said that, not something else. Yeah. All right. So it says 10.5. I want it to be 13, right? So I just type in 13, enter, pull it down. It's drawing my wall on the exterior, which is good. 12, enter. These are really thick walls. 13, enter. And now is where I go down, I think I go down 13. Yeah, 13. So 13 here, 15.5 here. And then this one, I'm just going to end it like right there. So that's about what we have. I'm going to pull this up, our little map, see if that helps you. So again, starting from this corner right here, over to the left 13, down 12, over 13 again, down 15.5. Did I go down 15.5 or did I go 15? Oh, okay. I did go down 13, but I don't know if I can fix it. I can fix the 15.5.
Well, no, it should have been 13 down, but you actually need to add another thickness for the wall.
Oh, I see what you're saying, the offset?
Yeah, it should have been like a...
Yeah, we'll align those. Yeah, we'll align those. Yeah. Good.
Before I get too lost.
May I come over and help find you? Let me pause this. Okay, so we'll do Darlene, Pamela, and then Christine. Go ahead.
So I understand everything that just happened and that you just explained.
Mhm.
That makes sense to me. But why didn't it automatically start doing that? Because since we indicated finish face interior.
Well, it doesn't know whether, so if we were drawing it from the bottom, that would have been okay. So right now, Revit isn't smart enough to know, are they starting from this corner, that corner, down here, over here? Because that was our first point, we just need to situate it. Okay. Pamela.
The long wall on the right, what did you decide the dimension was going to be?
I don't know. I just eyeballed it.
Okay.
I just ended it. And there's still going to be things that we have to align. Christine? Okay. Yeah, I really just ended it abruptly. Okay, so let me come back over here and let's finish this off as best we can. So coming over here, let me keep this open. So now I'm back in Revit. I'm gonna go ahead, if you guys don't mind, this won't be exact at all, but we're gonna make it work. Let's go ahead and finish drawing this corner right here. So we're all gonna have different dimensions, but we will come in and fix those dimensions. And we'll kind of decide as a class like what the correct dimension will be. There's gonna be some guiding forces here, and we're gonna decide which one leads.
Can you tell me again how to line those walls up exactly? It seems like
I'll get there,
okay.
because I'm gonna have to do it too. Because I don't think mine are lined up either, but I promise I will.
Thank you.
And
Of course.
on this bottom line here, did we say that's supposed to be 15?
Mm-hmm.
We drew it at 17.
Did we? Okay, we can still fix it. So sorry, this wall right here.
Yeah.
So this is our 13-foot wall, and then this one right here is our 15-foot dimension.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's what I have, but I thought we were saying we needed to change that.
Nope, you're good.
Can do work.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to help some of you guys finish this up, and then I'll come around to help if you're still sketching the walls out. But let's say right here, if you wanted to make sure that we actually do have, let me pull this back up. If you wanted to make sure that we do in fact have 13 feet by 12 feet here, what we can do is just click on a wall and to see how our, I forgot, there is a proper name for these, but I can't remember what they're called. These dimensions pop up. Okay.
I think they're called temporary.
Thank you, our temporary dimensions. Okay, so our temporary dimensions pop up. And let me ask you guys real quick, are they even measuring where we want them to measure? No, it's going center line to center line. So click on a blue dot and keep clicking it until it comes to the interior face dimension. It took me a few times before it got there, but eventually it got there. So there's only one blue dot on this dimension line. Okay, so here's what I did. So what I did, I clicked on this top wall, and it's giving me this dimension right here.
I clicked on the top wall, and mine's giving me the dimensions of the next little wall.
Okay, so what you can do, if those aren't working, let's say that mine went here. Is that kind of where yours is? Okay, what you can do is you imagine you're a mean mom, and you're going to just grab this dot as hard as you can, and you're going to drag it back out to wherever. So you click and drag. Can you tell where my mind is today? Oh, that was awkward. So coming down here, so Janelle, take a look at my screen. I'm still holding down, I'm pressing so hard on my mouse. I don't want it to be in the center. So as soon as my center highlights, I also hit tab, and then it eventually finds that top wall. Let me just get a couple of these up, and then I'll come around. So we've got 12 feet here, and then grab either this wall or this wall, it doesn't matter, either one, and find the temporary dimension here too. Let's make sure that this ended up at 12. And mine did not. Mine ended up at 12, 2 5/8. So I'm going to change that just to be 12.
You want it to be 13.
So this one was, oh no, I'm so confused. Okay, you guys are right. Let's go back there. Okay, so this one's our 13. And I'm going to throw these dimensions on here just so you can see where I am while I come around in case you guys need some help. I'm going to do wall faces. Okay. That's what I have. And then after that, I want to check this dimension here as well. Okay. man. Extra credit goes to the first person who can help Naima remember. There is a way that you can take a temporary witness line and actually make it part of your drawing. And I'm not doing it. That's okay. I'll let you guys know before we leave. Sometimes if I can't figure it out right on the spot, my brain just turns off.
Is it 15.6?
So not 15.6, but 15.5 or 15 space 6. So I remembered how to do it. If you ever want your witness lines to actually just show up on your screen, so for example, if I wanted these dimensions right here to activate, do you see this this dimension symbol right here? If you hover on it, it says make this temporary dimension permanent. So I click on it and it actually turns into a dimension.
That one more time.
Yeah, so click on any wall until a dimension pops up and you should see this dimension symbol right here. So if you click on that, it'll make it so that it just lives in your drawing.
When you did the patio, was it to the inside?
You know, I'm gonna find out right now. I actually don't know. When I'm here, I tend to go on autopilot. So we'll find out together where I took it to. Okay. So let's say, for now, this is where we want to end up. About. And I'm going to give you guys one more. I'm going to move this over so you can see it a little bit more. So we're going to have some funky dimensions like this 11, 2, and 1/16. But we're going to let this number 2 drive right there.
Did you want to do it to the center of the wall when you're on the patio? We were gonna. Inside of the wall or the outside?
Oh, thank you guys for noticing that. I didn't get what?
Down where the patio is.
Should it be 14 or should it be 13?
I wouldn't, so this one I wouldn't even worry about because I wanted the 15. So as long as this one is right at the 13 and this one's right at the 15, the 14 is going to be okay. But if it makes you feel better, I can do that for you.
How do you get the dimensions to go from vertical to?
So it depends on the wall you select. So if you pick, it's pretty much the opposite of what you select. So if you pick a horizontal wall, vertical dimensions show up. If you pick a vertically running wall, the horizontal dimensions show up. Little opposite. Okay. And then Dustin, in just a minute, I'm going to go back to what you asked on whether does this and that align. Because remember, we just got these off the internet. We have no idea if they align. They've given us these perfect boxes. And to be completely honest, they don't have to give us perfect dimensions because these are kind of for display or only. They're not really here to be built off of. And so what we'll need to do is kind of to go back and fudge and see, okay, was this really the 13 feet 12 and the 15 whatever by whatever? So we'll take a look at that too. If you're at that point, we can, yeah. Darlene and then Bailey.
So this two-foot wall.
Uh-huh. Yep. My little nubbin. So what you can do, click on this wall right there. Yep. And then you should see some dimensions activate. And then I had to drag mine around a little bit. And then it was eventually 2. Bailey, where can I help you? No, not at all. So let's take a peek at a couple things. So a couple questions people were asking me were, well, when I changed this dimension changed. And to be completely honest, this plan doesn't even mention any of those dimensions. I'm still clueless as to what they are. The only thing that's driving us right now is we know that this room is 13 by 12 and that this room is 15 and a half by 13 And I think I'm following those rules. Yep, 15.5 by 13. And then we don't even know that this is 2 feet. I just kind of was like, well, let's make it 2 feet. Everything else is just kind of there because it was attached to something else. They're kind of like the third wheel dimensions, okay? So we can ignore those for now. But one thing that Dustin wanted to make sure of is when we were looking at the plan, and just when you're building a house, it makes sense that this wall comes all the way through, so it's centered. And one thing that you can do is there is an align command. It's completely different than what we have in AutoCAD, but if you type in, why don't you guys watch me do it first, and then we'll do it together. But if you type in AL, the command starts, and the first thing that you click on is essentially the thing that's already aligned. So if I grab this side of the wall right here, then you can see that this is actually already aligned. But if it weren't, it would drag it over. So let me show you an example that would actually, I'm going to mess this up. I'm going to drag this over here, okay? Let's say that this is floating out in the middle of nowhere. If I typed in AL, then I would say, take this face of my wall and then match this face to it. And see how it just pops it over? So it's kind of nice. This wasn't the best example because we don't necessarily have anything to align yet. But if you're feeling brave, do it with me. So just click on that little wall right here. So highlight it right there. Okay, and then drag it over to the right. It doesn't matter how far you pull it out, but we're just kind of messing it up. Okay, so just click and drag. Is everybody ready for aligning? See, look at how good you are. You can't even mess up your walls yet. Okay, I'm going to do it one more time. So just click on the wall to highlight it and activate it. And then when you get close to it, do you see how this like 4-headed arrow pops up? That means move. So as soon as you see your cursor change from this to that, you can just drag. Okay. And then once you've kind of gotten that away, type in AL. And again, we're going to go from this outside face right here to this same face over here. And it should just pop it back over. And when you're done, hit escape. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
My wall now is not quite 13 feet.
Which wall? This one?
Yes.
So just grab this wall right here and push it back out to be 13 feet.
Thank you.
Yep. Did it go out on you again? That's so weird. I don't know exactly where the power source for that one is. Helped future users too. Okay. So now this is the space that we have to work with. And what I want to do at this point, before we start putting in like windows and doors and things like that, let's just take a peek at what this looks like in 3D. So remember, it's just this little house up here. And, you know, pretty straightforward so far. But this is the little house that we built. And,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
How are you, like, moving like that?
Oh, yeah.
In your 3D?
Sure. So if you get to your 3D view, using your pinky, hold the shift key down for me. And just keep it held. Yep. And then take your roller ball and then just press it in and kind of move your mouse around. And that'll let you rotate. Yep, and the other thing that you can do, sometimes depending on the mouse you work with, your roller ball might be a little bit crazy. You can always come up here and use this as well. Okay, either one of those. Okay, so now I'm going to come back up to the main level and take a look at that. So here's what I want to do next, and there's going to be some more alignment happening because when we created our walls, we did the 6-inch exterior and essentially the 3.5 interior wall, right? Now this looks like it's a 3.5, but take a look at this for me. Does that look like it's 3.5? Not quite. I'm not going to overbuild on the inside of the house just for sake of making this look exactly like what I found on the internet. So we're going to do it the right way and just create interior walls. And then what we will end up doing is coming back and adjusting those walls so that we can get these aligned as much as possible, but it might not be that perfect alignment as they've shown it. So I do know that when we're drawing this, we can just take our wall and draw it straight down and then another one straight over. So let's start with those two. So tell me the shortcut again for wall. And then before I start drawing, what's a couple things that I should think about? Yeah, so we don't want to do our exterior wall anymore. So find W2. And then if you haven't made these walls yet, just grab any generic wall and you can change it. So I've got this wall right here. And I don't necessarily need the wall center line, but I'm going to do my finished face interior. So Janelle's not here. This would be the perfect part to show her why that center line matters. But let me show you guys. So when I start drawing, my center line, perfect timing, Janelle. I just wanted to show you why the location line matters. I know you know that it matters, but here's an even better example. So I switch to finish face interior, and when I start drawing, right now, do you see that it's correct and that I want my wall to be drawn like that? Essentially, earlier when we were drawing, this is how the wall was being drawn. It was being drawn opposite of where we wanted it to go. So do you see that when I hit spacebar, it flips it to either side? So I want my finished face interior, in this case, to be on the right side. So I flipped it over. Okay, and I'm going to come all the way down here. And when I'm done, I'm just going to hit escape. So here's that weird corner I was talking about that we'll have to do some soul searching on a little bit later. But for now, what we can do is we can just come over here. Now, before I finish this wall, what do I need to do? Janelle, why don't you answer me? See how weird? Yeah, I'm going to flip it because see how it's making that weird corner right there? I want to flip it, so I hit space bar, and then I can just come all the way over like that, and then again hit escape to be done. Okay, so Janelle, I think the only thing you missed, we went WA, we grabbed our W1 wall, which was the interior wall, and we just filled in these two walls right here. If you guys wouldn't mind, captive audience, I told you guys that I'm pretty sure this wall is centered. We're going to pretend that it is. So one thing that we can do, so take a peek at my screen, I'm going to type in WA, and in this case, I actually want to draw from the wall center line. So when I find the midpoint of this wall, when I draw, see how it's already in the middle? It won't be, 6 inches to one side or the other, but it'll be at that perfect midpoint.
So I get a midpoint even without being on the finished face or on the.
So I will too. Let me show you what happens though. So if I do finish face interior, I'm going to find my midpoint, but is that wall perfectly centered right now where I'm drawing it?
Oh no, because it's trying to decide.
Yep. So unfortunately, because I started drawing it, it's not going to let me change it, but if I hit escape, I can come back up and do wall center line and then redraw it. So you can find the midpoint here or in the center. Either way, Revit is going to clean it up for you. So we just did that one all the way over. There's going to be a big opening that goes in here a little bit later. Not quite yet, but a little bit later. We've got some pocket doors to put in. So help me figure out, actually, did you guys get that wall drawn in the center? Okay. So right now, let's do some architectural math together. Counters are usually how thick? 2 feet. So we know that our opening at least starts 2 feet from here. And then how big would you guess this hall closet is? 3-ish feet, right? Because we've got a door here. It could be a 3-foot door. It could be a 2-6 door. We can pretend that it's about 3 feet there. So this is too much math for me. But we know that if we had a room that was 15.5 feet wide, if we take 2 feet off of it, we've got 13.5. If we take another 3-ish and a half feet off of it, we've got a 10-foot opening. Should we make it nice and easy? Okay. So let me come in. Let's see if Revit has a door opening for us. Now for this part, I'm going to be totally boring. Do you guys mind watching? And then I'm going to make you do it all on your own. Okay. So an opening, we wouldn't come here and chop up our wall, because if you think about, let's pretend that's an opening right there. So take a look at our door. We know that this is a doorway, but in most houses, when we have an opening, it doesn't go all the way up to the ceiling. So if you chopped your walls, it would mean that it's just an opening that goes straight up to the wall. But typically there is a header on it. So in Revit, if you go to door, and this is where I start praying, when I go to load family and go under doors, there should be one, hallelujah, door opening. So this will essentially just punch out an opening in the wall without physically putting in a door. So I'm going to go to my door opening. And again, here, a couple things to think about. My door opening by default is 36 by 84. Now 36 is 3 feet, but how big do I want it? I want it 10 feet, right? So when I was in walls and I wanted to take a wall that existed and make it custom, I did something specific. What should I do in doors to do that same kind of a thing? Edit type. I love you all. You're done with the class. Congrats. Enjoy your summer. Okay. So here, under rough width, do you see how it says 3 feet? I'm going to change that to be 10.
Are you okay with it not being duplicate?
Oh, I love you even more. Okay. So with this one, I'm bad at math, so I'm just going to call it 10-foot opening, because that's 120 inches, but I don't want to write 120 inches, so I'm just going to do 10-foot opening. So rough width is 10 feet. And then rough height, so right now I'm saying that this door height is 7 feet. And what I would like you guys to consider is that standard doors are 6 feet 8. So if we do it 7, let's just make sure that every door that we do from here on out is at 7 feet, because I think we're all designers, so we're all a little OCD. I don't want to see this and then this down here. Bailey? I won't tell you yet because you were just following along and I know you're not drawing. Busted. You're going to miss 10 other things by just trying to find that darn menu. So I'm going to click on OK. I'm going to place the opening here like this. Now is that kind of even close to where we want it to go? What dimension do we know for sure? The 2 feet. Let me click on this. Does that help me at all? No. I can do 2 things. Because it's already here, I can do the mean mom thing and click and drag it to where I want it to go. Okay, and then I can do 2 feet. Or I could have probably just as easily typed in DI and said from here to here should be, nope. I yell at you guys all day long. Click on the thing you want to move, not on the dimension. Okay, 2 feet. Either way. Okay, now that you all have been waiting so patiently, let me get you to where you want to go. So to put in an opening, it's going to be under door. Okay, and then if you don't see it here, which probably none of you do you see where it says load family? That's where you can go find it. And it's just in this main part right there, door opening. But from this point is where I'm going to set you guys loose a little bit. So I'm going to hit boarding. All right, so we've got just a little bit to go. We're past our halfway point, so we'll keep going with this. But I'm hoping that this is starting to make a little bit more sense as to how to put stuff in from the beginning. You know, thinking about the levels, thinking about the walls, how to change some of the dimensions, center things, all of those fun things that we get to think about. What I'm going to do now, we're obviously not done with this main floor right now. If we look at the plan that I just had open, we'd still have to come through and create the hall closet and the bath as well as the mechanical. That's putting in walls, and we know how to do that, so we'll come back to it in just a minute. But what I would like to do before we get too far is I want to quickly go over roofs again. We quickly touched on it last week, just kind of like as a fun preview of what's coming up. But now I'd like to spend a little bit more time on the roof, and after that I also want to go over stairs, because again, all of these things you'll notice a pattern in how they work. And then we'll come back and kind of finish it up together. So let me ask you guys, last week, if you guys did a roof, did you feel comfortable and enough with it to where you'd want to do this it's kind of like a 2-peak roof right now. It's essentially 2 roofs. Or do you just want to do 1 roof to start, nice and easy, and then we'll do the double? Dustin's eyes are this big. So we'll do both? Okay. Okay. Okay, let's do a really quick one, and then we'll do the 2 roof. So just remember that here's how we're going to orient ourselves. Right now, where we will eventually get to. So this is our covered patio right here. So this is our covered patio. So the way that we want to design our roof is that the pitch goes up this way and this way. Got it? All right. So come over here. Now, one thing to think about is right now I'm on my main level. So while I'm on my main level, should I start drawing a roof? Where should I start drawing my roof? Roof level. Yep. So floor plans, roof. So let's come over here. And when I'm double clicking, I'm not seeing anything yet. Do you guys see anything? Does it just look blank to you? Okay, I won't even ask you because this was all the way last week. But what you can do is over here under your properties menu, okay, if you guys pull down, we're looking for underlay. And right now, the only thing I can see, it says range base level, and it says none. So that means that basically the base of what I'm trying to look at, it's not giving me any clues. But what I would like to see is my main level, and then I'll hit apply. And then you can see kind of a ghosted view of the walls that we just drew. So again, properties, range base, main level. I'm going to make a note of that. And usually when I'm making notes of things, it means that you might see it on your questions. What is that called? Keep. Okay, coming back over here. So here's our roof level. Now we don't have a roof on it yet, but if you were looking over here at the architecture menu, which one of you bright children can tell me what to click on to start drawing a roof? The roof, woohoo! May I give you guys the less than a minute? This is how it works, and then we'll do it together overview. Is that okay? So when you click on roof, this is what your screen changes to. And the reason why your screen changes is before you actually start drawing a physical 3D roof, Revit wants you to sketch out where is your roof going to go. So that's why right here in your screen where you see draw, you can use all of these tools to essentially draw the outline of your roof. So if we wanted to draw a circular roof, we'd grab this and it would eventually make a circular roof for us. That's not what we're doing, so I'm going to hit Control Z. But more often than not, if you have something that's rectangular, you can grab a rectangle and essentially just draw a big box around this. That would be super simple to do it that way. I'm going to hit Control Z again. Along with this rectangle, so right now, let me just ask you, if I did it exactly like this again, the one thing that's missing from this that you might not notice at first glance is that there's no overhang. And a lot of times the roof doesn't go straight from the exterior wall and then stop right there. It usually goes past a little bit. So one thing that you can do before I start drawing, so here's rectangle. Do you see down here there's something called offset? So I'm going to give this a 2-foot offset, and that will essentially be my overhang. So here's what's really cool. I did the 2-foot offset. I essentially draw it exactly like I did before, going corner to corner. Sorry, excuse me. And see how it offsets it that 2 feet for me? Okay, now remember, this is just our super simple roof. We're ignoring what's in the picture. And before I'm done, what kind of a roof did I just draw? Basic 12 inches. So 12 inches means that the roof chord members are 12 inches. And then the slope is a 9 by 12. And without getting into too much math, if I were to draw, let's pretend that this is a 12 by 12. So if you were to draw a 12 by 12 inch slope, it would be this perfect 45-degree angle essentially, because for every 12 inches it goes over, it goes 12 inches up. Now here we're going 12 inches over and about 9. So this would be in the middle, this is 6, this is 3, this is 9. So this is the slope of our roof right there. So not quite as steep, but still pretty steep. And again, that's right here. And this is out of the box. So when I hit OK, I'm going to see this really weird roof. And that's because when you're looking at a floor plan, remember the thing I keep saying is that at a certain point, which is about 4 or 5 feet, we chop it and we just look at what's down. So in a roof plan too, at that 4 or 5 foot mark, we just chop it. And so we don't see the whole thing right now. We can change it so we can see the whole thing. But in our plan, this is what it looks like. But in 3D, voila, master's degree here, people. There's my roof.
Is it slanted like that because you put that 912 in there?
Uh-huh.
That's why it's that shape?
Yeah. And I'll go over a little bit more about that too. So let me come back here. And I mean, I wasn't in love with the roof. I won't be insulted if you guys weren't either, okay? So I'm going to come back here and click on my roof. And do you see where it says Edit Footprint? That's where I can change some of its parameters. I'm going to change a couple things. So when I go to Edit Footprint, do you guys notice these little triangles, for lack of a better term? Okay. So these mean that they define the slope. Now remember, when we were looking at our house from the side, essentially right now, if you look at our roof, I'm voguing up here, the slope comes from all 4 corners. So it comes up this way and it comes up this way. But what we want to do is to make it so that this side right here doesn't slope. So I'm going to click on this and deselect Define Slope. I'm going to click on this and deselect Define Slope. And then when I'm done editing, see this big green check mark that says Finish Edit Mode? I'm going to finish Edit Mode. You can see that my roof plan looks crazier than it did before, but let me look at the 3D view and see how, I mean, you could disagree with me, but it looks a little bit closer to what we were trying to go for earlier, where it's just, you know, the 2 sides that are defining it. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my roof and delete it, and let's all try to do a basic roof together. Okay. Yeah.
When I click on my roof initially,
Uh-huh.
it says the work plane of this view can't be used for this operation. Do you know anything about that?
Yes. Are you in the ceiling plan maybe? So look down here, make sure it's under floor plan roof, because it's happened to me a million times. And instead of swearing now, I'm like, oh, I know what to do. Okay. So make sure floor plan roof. And then again, once you're here, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. We want to click on roof. And do you guys just want to do the rectangle, or do you want to trace around the house so the roof kind of perfectly goes around the house? What would you guys like to do? Britt, you made eye contact. You want to trace? Okay, but Sarah answered. So before, when I came in, I clicked on the rectangle, but we're going to click on the line. Okay. And the other thing that we're going to do, would you guys also like to offset the roof? Okay, so let's come over here before we start drawing. So we picked line, and then we'll also do the 2-foot offset. And for now, let's go ahead and have everything define the slope, and then we can turn it off later. Okay, so after we have that, it's essentially a click and drag. And it should automatically finish it off for you once you get to that last click. Hi. Now, Darlene, I can see your screen, so I'm going to help you out because somebody else might be doing this. I'm going to come back a couple steps. So when you have your offset to 2 feet, you can still click right on the corners of the wall, and it will, see how when I pull down, it automatically pushes it out that 2 feet? So I would just hit Control Z and go back a couple because I'm being nosy. I think from what I saw, you were trying to kind of eyeball where it was going, but you can actually just come from corner to corner and it automatically offsets it for you, and you can just go around the whole thing. And then again, when I'm done, I click on this last one and it should clean it up automatically. So what you can do, there is a shortcut. It's, let me find the icon for it. It's TR, and then you click on the 2 things you want to come together. So here, Christine, let me get where you are. So if you end up with something like this, type in TR, and then click those 2 lines, and it'll pull them together as a corner.
Is that trim?
Nope, it is trim extend to corner. So it's fillet.
Fillet.
Yep. And that's one of your questions, FYI. That's already locked in there. So if you see a question, and this works with anything, it works with walls, it works with lines. If you want to bring 2 of them together to a perfect corner, it's TR. So a little bit different if you're used to the AutoCAD mind. For those of you guys who are in AutoCAD, you'll get there. You'll have to remember both. Sarah? Okay, so also make sure, let me come take a peek. Are you selected online? So what you want to do is just click there. Nope, so you're tracing around the walls. So I'm going to skip one more time. You need to draw the roof for this little oven right there. So click from there and then down to the bottom.
Or over here, she's from over here.
To each corner of your roof. You have to wait until you see those squares pop up or they won't be perfect. So end it where you are and then hit escape for me. And you're going to use the TR to fix it.
What did you guys go to
These
first?
2
We were
and
all
those
here
2.
looking at the ones you do it on?
So you can either type in just TR or click that button, either one. Yep, and then, for example, click here, and it'll bring them together. And then hit, yep. And then clean those up. Yep, so this is going to be crazy. So click here first, and then, so they have to be perpendicular. So click up here, and then click that little tiny one. And now, here, and that other little tiny one. Good. Okay, you got it. Oh, allergies. Okay. So does everybody have their roof outline? Okay. Once you have your roof outline, go ahead and click OK. And then meet me at a 3D view, just so we can kind of spin it around and see what it looks like. Okay. And one thing that's nice is that Revit does do a lot of this stuff automatically for you. But let's change a couple things, shall we? What was, oh, the green check button in the middle, top middle of your screen. Good.
I'm sorry, it's so high. Where are you just right now? He's trying to.
I went to the 3D view. So did you get your roof done?
I got behind, but I'll just watch. I just want to see.
Well, we're gonna go back and edit our roof.
Okay.
So we'll meet you guys back there. Do you guys remember how to edit your roof? When I was giving you the example, I just showed you kind of quickly. I'm gonna highlight my roof and you guys can do the same. So right now in my screen, do you see something that popped up that might help? That will edit it, but that's like a crazy edit. So we don't want to do that one. So I'm gonna hit Control Z on those. But take a look at the top of my screen. Yeah, so if I go to Edit Footprint, I can do it here, but you know, sometimes it's a little bit crazy. So if you're comfortable working in the 3D view, you can do it here. Or you can double click and just come back to your roof level so you can see it in plan view. So it's a little bit more intuitive, I would say. let's do a couple of things while we're in here. First, let's turn off every slope that's essentially running, let's call this the horizontal plane, and let's make it so those don't define the slope anymore. So I click on the lines that are running horizontally, and you see up here it says define slope. Just deselect that and that triangle will go away.
Do you have to do it one at a time?
Yes, that's what I'm finding. Let me try it one more time. Sorry, if you hit control, you can select more than once. So if you're on an Apple, hit the command key. Slightly different location. You'll find me hitting the Windows button a lot. Like, why is that there? Okay. And then when you're done turning off the slopes, what do you think you should hit next? Yep, good. So finish edit mode.
What if your edit footprint option isn't there?
Click on your roof first. So click on the roof, or like your actual physical roof. So see how right now my roof is blue? So click on it. There you go. You double clicked on it, so you just jumped right in. That's okay. And I'm gonna go into 3D one more time. So this is what I have now. Pretty crazy. We'll keep going. Now with this roof, we're gonna try something completely different. So come back to your roof level, and let's actually just start from scratch and delete this roof. I'm going to show you how to make a flat roof.
Okay, can I just, to try to keep going,
Mm-hmm.
my bar is gray, so I can't do anything. So I go here and just bring it out.
So you're already in roof mode, so go back to the bottom. So click on that screen.
Watch the videos, they're like zero.
See how it's highlighted for you? So right now you haven't done anything on your roof yet. So this is a good place to be because this is where we're going to
But
start.
I don't have any of this stuff either, do I?
Not yet.
No.
So we're starting over again. So wait for me here. And if we get lost, yell at me and I'll run back over. Okay.
So I hope you didn't love your roof because we deleted it, but we just did 2 roofs in like less than 5 minutes. So let's do one more, and then we'll come back and kind of focus on the actual roof that we might want for this place. So to do a flat roof, what we're gonna do, we're still gonna click on roof, and we're gonna come back to this menu right here. But there's a couple things that we're going to change. And one of the most important things is that we are going to take the slope off completely. And so right now, when I'm taking a look at this, the base level is still roof, which is good. And we still want our 12-inch roof. But now we can do a couple things. Instead of sketching it with the line, I'm going to show you one other way of doing it, but we'll still have to clean it up. This is, you can either pick walls or pick lines. So here, if I select pick line, whatever I highlight essentially will become a roof line. And do you notice that I'm going into the interior side of the wall? That's because typically, I'm just going to draw a quick section. If you have a flat roof, if this is the outside of your wall, I'm going to cut this off right here. Usually the roof is somewhere like this, so that the exterior face goes up and the roof is hiding behind it. You'll rarely ever see a building where you'll see like the brick end, like let's just even say here, and then the roof comes on top of it. That's not really how it works. Usually the roof butts in and then it keeps going up. So this will be called a parapet. We'll take a look at that in just a minute.
Quick question. You changed something on your properties when you did not?
I did not.
Oh.
So the only thing I clicked on, I haven't changed that yet. See how mine is still at 912? I will in just a minute, but I haven't changed it yet. So I'm going to keep sketching.
Are we just watching you or are we supposed to speak along the line?
You know, I would say for this one, you can follow along at this point. So what I did is we went to roof and I clicked on pick lines, so you guys can click on pick lines. And then we just went around the perimeter. And it did a pretty good job, but it's also kind of crazy. So I'm going to wait here for you, and then we'll talk about how to clean this up. Because it's a little cray. It would not... Yeah, there's a couple things we need to do before we get out of here.
You want all the interior walls selected?
Nope. I just went around the perimeter. So here, here, here. But it gave me a couple bonus things. And that's the part we're going to clean up. So just click on the exterior perimeter. And then for those of you guys that are ready, let me use, I'll be right there, Lindsay, sorry. Let me use this one as an example. See how this line actually needs to connect to this line, but instead this one's shooting out and this one stops short? What's a fun little shortcut? TR, yeah, so TR, and you're gonna click the two lines that you want to go together. So as soon as you have your perimeters chosen, so I TR'd these two together, and then I'm also going to do these two. So eventually it'll look something like this. And then wait here too. I had a couple hands pop up. So see that little section I drew over there? So usually on if you're doing a flat roof, the roof just goes to the edge of the structure. It doesn't pop out if you have a flat roof. When we draw
the edge of the structure would be the interior walls.
the interior side of the exterior wall. Yes.
Longer over here.
Yeah.
I have, this is noticing
Mhm.
the whole.
Yeah, so you just grabbed an extra bonus piece. So go through. So try to come up here and do your trim and see if you can get rid of it that way. But remember, click on what you want to keep. Yep. Uh-huh. And then do it again from this corner to that corner, and that should get rid of it, hopefully. Yep. So you still have some extra.
I don't need that.
We'll eventually just delete that one. But do from here to here. Oh, so you have a couple extra lines. So what you can do, just click on them, like that one, and then hit delete.
Maybe our.
And then I think we still have more, so click on it again. Sometimes when we click on stuff, we just get a little excited. Okay, good.
Okay.
And then click on that one. I think you need to delete that one too. Same thing. Okay, so click and then delete. And then one more time. Eventually it'll go away.
And
Good.
then,
So if you have any extra
Oh.
lines, just click on them and delete them.
got it.
You got it? Good. So see how you're not clicking on a line here? You have to click on two lines that are going to come together like this. So you would click on this purple line here and then shoot it up to that line there. I think if you zoomed out a little bit more, it might help so you could see what you're looking at. Because like right now you're TRing, but I don't know what you're TRing. So zoom out. So close. No, do that for me because you know what you're clicking on. There you go. That'll help.
It's still like every time I go on, I say
So it's actually doing the right thing. It's just clicking on different things. Zoom out more for me. Okay. So first question, do you even want that little nubbin there?
no.
So you can just hit delete. You can click on it and delete that little nubbin. Goodbye little nubbin. And then line is too short. Cancel. Okay. So I think it was still TRing. So come over here. Let's first fix up there. Oh. Yeah. So see how this line and that line need to connect? So do TR. And then, almost. You have to wait for it to turn blue. So zoom in a little bit more. Yep. And then that one. Okay, so I think you might have a lot of lines on top of each other. So hit escape. Let's find out what's in overlap. So click here and then just hit delete for me. I forgot to pause. Sorry, guys. So you had already TR'd it, but there's one underneath it. So that's why I was like, it just had an extra. And then let's click on that one and delete it and see if it's an extra.
This one?
And then hit, sorry, down there, hit delete element. And click, yep. Yeah, that was extra. And I think that was extra too. So click and then delete. Okay. I think you're good. Alright.
I've got one little section that is not highlighting right here.
So click on it.
So highlight.
And then yep, it's got that whole thing. So you've got two things there. So just hit escape. Okay, so click on that And just see if there's one underneath. Okay, so there's not one underneath. So what you can do now is just grab your line and fill in that little area that you need. Oh, this right there. Because it needs to be one continuous loop. Yeah. So you can just fill it in now. A lot of people had extra there, so I just wanted to see if yours was extra. Good. There you go. So now we've got our roof outline for our flat roof. But before we finish this, well, if you guys really wanted to, we could just hit the green check mark and go into 3D and see that we have, whoops, we have like a crazy little nubbin roof. That makes no sense. There might be a time and a place, but we're not going to be trendsetters today. Okay, I'll catch up with you in 1 sec. Let me go back. I'm going to go back to roof level. Click on this, and then I'm going to do edit footprint. And then once we're back in here, go to your slope and just make this 0. So do you guys see where my cursor is? So over here on the left side it says slope. Change that to 0. And that will make it flat. And so once it's flat, it doesn't matter what's defining the slope. And then go ahead and hit the green check mark for me again, and let's look at it in 3D. And see how it still looks kind of crazy? Right? I mean, it's definitely a flat roof, but here's what we have to do. And this comes up a lot in this class where people do modern design, and I'm like, okay, let me teach you how to do it. So let's take a look at these levels to kind of help us, because here's what we've done right now. We have our main level here, and we've said to take our walls up to the roof, like this. Everybody see that okay? And then our walls end here, which is right here on the roof level. And then in addition, we've drawn the roof on the roof level. So we've done everything right, correct? Now the way that we could fix this is we could take these walls that go up to the roof and we can say, pop them up a little bit higher. Sarah, question? Is it? Yeah. I'm gonna see if I can help you. But if not, you might have to try and save and recover, and then we'll pull it back up. So let me show you guys how to do this real quick. Bailey? Is it freezing you?
No, it's not freezing. It like kicked me out of, like I can't go into roof, like it's gray.
Is it? So you might be stuck in edit mode. Do you mind? Let me finish this up. I'm going to go to Sarah, and then I'll come back over to you. For the rest of you who are still here with me, you guys can do this in 3D mode, or you can do this in floor plan level. Are you guys in 3D right now? Why don't you meet me in 3D? We'll do it there. Okay. Yep.
Well, when I tried to put 0 slope, it went 0/12.
That's right.
Okay.
So
Mine still looks different than you. Mine's blue. My roof is blue.
You have to accept it. Just hit the.
So it shouldn't be blue. Is it blue or purple?
Purple.
Okay, so if it's purple, in the middle of your screen you should see that big green check mark.
It's gone.
Okay, click on where, see how this is kind of a minty color? Click on that menu, get back in there, and then try to find the check mark. And if it's not there, bear with me because I have to see Sarah, Bailey, and then you. Pamela, you might have to go on that list. I'm sorry. Okay. So for the rest of you, though, if you want to see how to correct this roof, highlight over one of your walls. And do you guys remember what we do to select the rest of them that are attached?
Tab.
Yep, so highlight and then tab. Are we done? Click. Good. And now they're like a solid-ish blue. Okay. Once it looks like that, do you see it says, okay, you have all these walls selected. It goes back into your wall properties. Do you guys see your wall properties? Yeah? I see wall properties. I hope you guys do too. And then what we want to do while we're in wall properties is, do you see how there's something called top offset and it's at 0 right now? What the top offset does is it takes your walls and it offsets them higher. So right now, let's offset it 4 feet, because what that does is first it offsets it a foot, so it goes up to the roof, and then we have an additional 3 feet on top of that. And even that's too low. So it's not quite railing height. If we wanted it to be railing height, we would have offset it. We did it 4. We have to add another 6 inches to that, anywhere from 4 to 6 inches to get it to that 42. Now we just have a 36-inch railing. Okay, so Christine, you're almost there. So again, what we're looking for, once you have all of your walls selected, top offset 4 feet. If you want to do it to code, make it 4.5 feet. And then I will come around, let me pause, and I'll see where you... Okay, now I'm recording again. Let me get caught up with you guys. So we practiced a couple roofs. We decided we didn't like the direction we were going, so I'm going to delete this one. And I'm going to grab all of my exterior walls and get rid of that top offset. So basically, we're back to essentially not even having to do a roof at all. Let me go back to our reference photo so we can see what it is we're working on. And let me split. Actually, I think my screen is already split. Let me scooch this over a little bit more. Not a lot of real estate here, but I'll take what I can get. Okay, so this is the view that we'll be working on. So can you guys see right here, we're going to have one roof that basically looks like it's flat over this part of the house, right? And then we're going to have another roof right here, it'll be right there, that isn't flat but slopes up like this. Okay. Hajir, question?
Yeah, I can't delete my roof.
You can't? Okay, I'll come help you in just one sec. So we're going to have to create these 2 roofs. Now, one thing to think about is that if you look here, would you guys agree that they both at least start at the same part? Or sorry, at the same point? I was thinking of like 3 things at once. But here's where something where we kind of diverged. So when we made our levels, we kind of secretly decided between ourselves that our roof, we added a loft level. Now in this image right here, is there a loft? There isn't, right? So we just have kind of, in this plan, it stopped, loft level would actually be the ceiling, okay? So what we can do now is let's go ahead and build it just as it's shown, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna raise that roof to the actual roof level. Does that make sense? So we're gonna draw it as it's shown, which is something like this. So let me draw just a side view of it. So we have this roof right here over the patio, and I think is that the living room? I can't even remember. And then aligned with that, we have this other roof that comes up something like this. And this line wouldn't even be here, right? This is how they've given it to us out of the box. But because we want to get a little bit more space in our home, eventually where we're gonna go is we still have this roof over here, and we're gonna take this up to about here. Like that. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. Now this part right here, we're gonna kind of have to experiment with, because I have no idea exactly how that part is going to work out, like how high we're gonna go or how low we're gonna go, but we'll get there. Let's just start with this one here. So what we're gonna do is let's take our loft level, and we're gonna rename that roof. We're gonna keep that roof level there, but we're just gonna call this one roof, and then we're gonna draw one roof like this. And does this roof have any slope? No. Nope. And then after we finish that one, we'll draw this one. Does this one have slope?
Yes.
Does it have slope on all 4 sides? No. No. Yep. So essentially, we'll draw it together. And I'll go slow. We'll just do the whole thing together. Okay. So first, let's start by coming to our main level. And right now, the way that I've drawn it, I'm going to hit tab to find hopefully most of my exterior walls. It took me a couple tries, but all of my exterior walls right now go up to the roof level. And remember I said I wanted them to go?
Can you just go back? How did you get there where you can work on that level?
I'm going to have you tell me, look over here.
Yeah, I'm on there.
Okay.
Level.
Yep.
But it won't do anything.
Does it not look like that? Or is it giving you an error? So it's still asking you to draw a roof. So if you're done, hit the X button. Like I'm done with it. Hit yes. Okay, and now you can actually do something on the main level because you're stuck in roof. Okay. Alright. So again, I went back to my main level. I grabbed the roofs, and actually for this one, let me do this. I'm going to show you guys. You guys don't need to do this, but I'm going to toggle my views just so you can see what I'm doing. Sorry, not toggle, tile. So right now I have all of my exterior walls going up to that giant roof level. But I'm going to bring them back down so that they just go to the loft level. Again, where this designer actually intended this design to go. Yep. And then once we're done here, I'm gonna go, let's take our loft level and let's rename this. So you can just double click on where it says loft level and right click on it and go to rename, and we're gonna name it loft level /roof.
Sorry, I missed that. How do you bring the walls back down?
Okay, so when you have your wall selected, over here, it should say up to level, top constraint up to level, and a selected loft. Before, it was up at roof. Got it? And then again, just to make it less confusing, I'm going to do loft level /roof. Now, looking at this example over here, do I have an overhang on this side? This one's flat, but up front I do, right? So let's sketch it in just as they have it. So we know that my patio is over here somewhere. So we're just going to overhang on this front part right here. So coming back into my sketch, so on my loft level /roof, I'm going to go into architecture. Wait, before I go too far. Did you get your roof deleted? Not yet? Okay. Sorry, sometimes you guys have to yell at me twice. I'm usually pretty good at remembering. Now, if you go back to your loft level /roof. So right now, so I took my walls down, and so I think since your walls are still high, the walls just come up. So that's why you see the full wall. So if you go, let's go to your elevation, go to east elevation, I think this will help. So what I did on mine is I took, see how your walls still go up to the roof? I took my walls all the way down, which is why they look ghosted. I would say leave them up for now so we can sketch the roof, and your walls are going to go through your roof, but you can always lower them down after.
So how do I lower them down so that I know?
So I clicked on all of the walls, so come over here so you can see all of them. So, you're almost there. You had it the first time. There you go. Good. So we're gonna draw our first roof, which is this one right here. It's essentially gonna be a flat box with a little bit of an overhang. Okay, so let's come to architecture, roof. And with this one, I'm going to do the rectangle and then I'm going to change some stuff because again, I don't know exactly how this works, but take a look at how I'm going to sketch it. So I'm going to go from here to here just to get myself started. I know it's not right, like exactly how I want it yet, but eventually I'll get there. So again, I just went to rectangle and I went from this upper corner point and then down to the bottom. So take a peek at this roof right here. Yeah. Yeah, we're just trying to do like a modern box, that's all. Because in the future, when you want to do a modern box, as most people end up doing, you'll know how to do it correctly. All right. Now tell me what's a little bit off on my outline here. Yep, there's no overhang. So what I can do is I can grab this, and there's a couple different ways of doing this. So for our AutoCAD friends, you would know how to do this in AutoCAD really quickly. But in Revit, it's going to be a little bit different. But let me show you some ways that it might be similar. So we have the move command, which is MV, or you can click on this icon. So these come up when you click on a line. So if I type in MV, I can grab a base point, and then drag it over, and then hopefully just how you're familiar with, you type in 2, enter, and it moves it over that 2 feet for you. I'm going to do that one more time. So click on your line. Okay. Do you guys remember the shortcut? MV. And then it's always good to grab a base point. So see how my cursor is coming down here to the bottom of that line? So I click here for my base point and then drag it over and then 2, enter. Okay, so I just moved that over. And now I think it looks pretty much right, but do we have a slope here? On this one we don't. This is our flat one. So I'm just going to do 0 over 12. And sorry, I should grab all of these. So see how I just had the one selected? I'm going to do my hover tab. And then with all of them, I'm going to turn off define slope. So now it should just be the flat roof. So again, hover tab, and then deselect define slope. Yep. Uh-huh. Do you see where it says define slope?
Oh, the little box on the left?
Mm-hmm. So you don't have anything selected yet, Darlene? So I'm going to try it one more time. So I'm going to hover, and then hit tab, and then click, and then does it pop up? Okay. I'll be there. But for those of you that have it, go ahead and hit your green check mark, and then look in 3D. You have like your little stub of a roof so far. And we're going to do the other side here in just a minute. Okay, so right now you're drawing on your lot, which should be okay. I don't know what's saying your cutoff level. Oh, I don't have your 3D here. We can click on 3D for me. Should be okay. Go back to, are you working in loft? Okay, so double click on that. And then hit the green button one more time. Just hit cancel for me. I think it has to do with where your elevation lines are, so hit cancel. Actually hit cancel. Okay, you can go to your elevation for me, like east elevation. So you actually, because your walls kind of on it in 3D. So right here when you drew, you kind of drew a wall here and then another one there. So click continue and then delete one of those lines and then figure out which one's a duplicate.
Do you know how to easily find no, she said I still can't see. What's happened at home too, and I couldn't see the footprint of my windows, I had to redo windows.
Do you have a tray out there?
I can't see anything about it.
Let's see if I can remember.
Make sure to turn off the fine slope on all of those. And then hover over, escape over time, it's still drawn. Good. Now tab, sorry, MB. So this tab, same, and then click. And then now we see turn off the fine start over. Yeah, that one for now. You have my pen. There you go. And then hit yes to accept it, and you should see it pop up over here. Now that's your roof.
And also, it's usually
And then, so you're almost there, so now cover. That's what you want, cover. And then tab. And now, turn off the fine slope. And then hit your green check button to say yes. Okay. Oh, okay, so hit escape then. And then click on that line, this is the line you want. And then or end. Find your mouse point. Do you want to click right on? Drag over to enter. I want to do this out. Okay, so hit yes to accept your roof. Let's do your roof first. Now go grab all of your walls. Do that same hover purple one. Oh. And is it 0? And then over there, top constraint. Please yes, it's up to level. Yep, click on that. And you want to bring that down to, I think you have it at the lowest level, so 0. And then you still have your 4.5 foot top offset, so make that 0. There you go. Okay. One more roof, guys. We've got it enough. Okay, so I'm coming back over here and we're gonna draw one more roof. It's gonna look a lot like this as we're sketching it, but the slope's gonna be a little bit different. So come back over to where you drew your roofs, and you're not gonna edit the footprint because this is a whole new roof. So you're actually just gonna click on roof again. And I'm gonna draw a square. And this time I'm gonna go from this corner down to this corner. And I'll come back and add, well, let me just take a look. I'm pretty sure we have overhangs all around this one. Wouldn't you guys agree? So let's just do things the right way. And before we sketch, so if you need to hit escape, you may. And let's go to offset and just do 1 enter for 1 foot. Offset. So offset turns into your overhang. So make sure that you're in your roof command. So ladies, come over here, see where it's minty, where I'm hovering. Click on that menu, and then you'll be able to see it.
In our left off, it should be in our left.
Nope, see where I'm pointing? Right here. See where it's minty? Click on that.
Yeah.
And you should be able to see offset right here.
I just don't see it overhang. I don't see offset. Yeah, I don't see offset. Should I just do it in overhang?
Okay, so start drawing. So click on something to start drawing. That would help. Did it pop up now? So click on one of your draw commands and then it'll pop up. Without doing a draw command, it doesn't know what to offset or what to do. Did that work? Okay. So again, I'm going to draw from this corner here all the way down to that corner. And again, without seeing exactly what's going on over here, I'm not sure if they kept it tight to the roof, but I'll just keep it here for now. And then for our define slope, really the only one that we need to select, I'm going to hit escape. This is the only one that defines the slope. So click on this one and then hold your control key and add this one and this one. So you have these three selected. So again, it was a control click. These three should be blue.
I just drew a bunch of new boxes.
Okay. So control click these three. And after you do, turn off define slope. So what that means is that because this is the only one defining the slope, it means that this line over here that you just drew is the only one that's defining the slope. See how that's what's going on with that roof? If we did both of these, that means both of those roofs would come up to define the slope, but really we're just shooting off from one point. Okay. Then after you have that, I don't know exactly what the slope will be, so let's keep it at the 912 and see how it looks. And that looks really high. I don't think that's a 912 roof. What do you guys think? Not quite? Okay. So while the roof is selected, so if you're done, go ahead and hit your green check mark, like, okay, I'm done. Go ahead and commit to your roof. Okay. And then you can click your roof and you'll be able to see that the slope is at 912. And I'm going to bring this back down to a 412. And it might even, I mean, I can keep it at a 412 or a 312. We'll see. I don't know exactly where it's at. So you guys can just pick what looks right to you. Bailey?
After you hit control and then clicked on the three, what did you do after that?
So after that, let me go to edit footprint. So when I selected the three, make sure that define slope is off for those three. And that was it. And then I said, okay, I'm done. Nope, I hit the green check mark. Yep.
But then I have this little box.
Well, you can redraw your box or drag your box out.
They changed it.
So it got cut off. So it's right. So you can go to your 3D view and it'll look correct. Yeah. See how it's just kind of a crazy slope right now? So I can't either. So see how mine is cut off? We just have different roofs at different angles. So change this to be 312, I think is where I have mine, and you'll see more.
We have it at 412.
Do you have it at 412? Okay, so 412. Really? Pretty sure I lowered it. I think I took it down to 312. I did. I'm pretty sure.
So how do you break that?
Three, and then just do a dash. Oh, sorry, this one. I think it's this. Let's check. And then hit apply. I don't know if that's gonna work. Nope, that wasn't it. So come back over here. So see where it's 1/4 inch. So just highlight the 1/4 inch part. And then type in 3 there. And then hit apply. Yep, that looks more like mine. Now see right here how you have all of your slopes. This should be a flat roof. So that one's a little
So
crazy.
I need to highlight it and define slope off all of them.
Yeah. Good. Okay. And then while we're here, I'm going to show you how to fix your walls too. So you're doing 2 roofs at the same time when you should just be doing 1 at a time. So you're going to have to delete one of those. Was this one right originally? Well, I mean, did you have this roof once upon a time? It never stopped. Okay. So grab all these lines. Well, actually, you have this one done. So grab those lines. Do the tab click. And then just delete those. Because you'll have to create that roof completely separately. Oh, so you have lots of lines there. So go select them again. So hit escape. Okay, hit escape. Hover first. Tab. Click. I'm gonna go. You'll eventually get there. Nope, you want to hover. You keep clicking, then you want to hover. So for the rest of you that have your roof done, let's clean this up a little bit. So it looks a little bit more like our reference, which is this one right here, okay? So this is best done in a 3D view, so you can kind of see what you're doing. But right now, it looks really awkward because I have these walls and then this roof that have nothing to do with each other, right? So what you can do, this is a relatively simple fix. So just click on one wall, any wall for me. At least make it one of the walls that should go up to the roof, okay? When it's selected, do you see up here at the screen, this Modify Walls menu became active and you can do Attach Top or Base? You guys see that? So if you click on that, now what you need to do is click on the roof and it just shoots it straight up. And then I'm just going to swing mine around and I'm going to do the same thing over here and maybe even here there's a weird gap. But again, I just grab the wall, attach top and base to the roof, and it just swings it over. And typically when you delete the roof, since that reference isn't there, it just shoots your walls back down to where they should have originally gone. It's not like they're going to stay slanted and crazy. Yeah, except for the front side. We're going to do that one a little bit differently. Not today, but we will do that one. And then here, I'm going to fix this one too. So in 3D view, I can spot a couple areas where it's a little bit crazy. Like right here, see how I should have drawn a little bit of roof right here? So a couple things I can do. I can either draw a little bit of roof, or I can take the wall and tuck it back in, whichever one you guys think looks better. So it isn't perfect, but it's giving us an idea of what this should look like. And remember, my roof level still looks crazy like this, just because it's being chopped off at that 4 feet. So if I go to my elevation, essentially what we're seeing, here's my loft level roof. About 4 or 5 feet above that is where it's being cut off. So that's why I can't see the whole thing. Actually, I want to be here. Going to start up the lecture again. So we did a section. I missed the section part of it. So on our main level, there's 2 ways to draw a section. One is this button here, or you can go into view and then section. I'm just going to draw it in again real quick, just like that. And then once you're done, you can just double click on this head right here and it takes you into your section view. I'm going to delete that. So before we go into stairs, I'm going to show you how to put these onto sheets. Just a quick review. So right now in sheets, do I have any? No. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to right click and go to new sheet. And I think I made this comment on at least 3 or 4 people. When you print, for now, go ahead and just use this default E1 30 by 42. Okay. We'll get some more later, but for now, this default is just fine. So when you right click on sheets and you go to new sheet, this menu should pop up for you. So the E1 is the first one on the list. Do you see it, Vince? Okay, good. And again, most of you guys had this, so it's just a review. But if you look at your homework for this week, I want you guys to start following like national CAD standards. So rather than just throwing a whole bunch of stuff on a sheet and calling it, sheet 1, I'd rather you guys name it I-101 floor plan. So that's what we'll start off doing, okay? We'll do our I-101 sheet and we'll do our roof plan sheet together too. So for example, this sheet right here, now if I expand this, do you see by default it named it A101? Okay, since we're doing interior design, let's double click on where it says A101. And do you see how it kind of activates to where we can edit it? I'm just going to change this A to an I. And I typically don't put an ID for interior design because National CAD Standards designates a D for demolition. So if somebody's being really particular, I wouldn't want them to think that this was like an interior demolition sheet. So I is the national standard for an interior sheet. Guys with me? Okay, so we've got I-101, and what we're putting on here is our floor plan. So if we come up here and we find our main level under our project browser views, I can just click on that and drag it over, and I should be able to place it right there. Of course, I can do it more than once. So here's main level, drag, and then drop.
So you click it, drag it, and let go.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Now what I want to do, yep, Britt, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask if there was a way to crop that.
Yes. Wavelength here, right here. So right now, this isn't lovely. You know, it's just, you've got these random things sticking out here and the viewport titles all the way down here. So what I want to do is I want to show you guys how to clean this up a little bit. So what we're going to do, we're going to double click into our main level. And I'm going to show you how to clean up these views. Now this particular technique works for any view. So if you're going to put in elevations, sections, anything like that, the same thing will work. So when you're in your main level, everybody come up here to your properties and scroll down until you see the extents submenu. Okay, so properties, extents. And then what I want you guys to do, there's something called crop region. And if you have a bigger screen, it says crop region visible. Click that and you should see a random square come up on your screen. Everybody see that? So this essentially is what you'll be putting onto your sheet. So right now we've got way too much, right? Like we've got a plan that's here, but it's putting all of this stuff onto the sheet. So again, this was under our properties menu. Scroll down to extents and then turn on crop region visible. And this random black box will appear. So let's clean that up. And before I do, let me go back here. Do you see how here's the box that I just turned on my floor plan? By default, it's just not visible, so it's out of your way. So I'm going to go back to level 1. And I want you guys to crop this in nice and close to where it makes sense. And then as soon as you do, hop back in to your floor plan and you should see that update.
So you do it from the sheet?
Are you doing it on the sheet? So that's a new 2019 thing. I've never been able to, I have no idea how you're doing that. But that's cool. I'm glad you can.
So we were supposed to go into the
No, it's, I mean, I double clicked on it and you can do it in your sheet view now. So that's great. That works for me too. So Darlene worked her magic, and what she did, she just double clicked on it right here in her sheet. I'm back in like 2016 or 2017 with my Revit. I don't even know how far back I am. But
How did you even get your cropping
window?
lines to show?
Okay, so properties, that's where we turned on our extents. Crop region visible.
Yeah, I have that checked.
Okay, so if that's checked, you should see a black box around it now. Do you have, I'm wondering, I don't know if you have the right one. Come back to your main level for me, Janelle.
Okay.
Okay, do you see any black boxes now?
It was so big it's on the other side.
Okay, just needed to zoom out a little bit. So here's a couple other things while we're still here. And again, you can do this activated in your sheet view right here, or you can do it right on your main floor plan. Either way. But I typically don't like the crop region to be visible. So right now crop view is on, which means that the view will be cropped. But I can crop the view and turn off this black box around it. Excuse me.
So
Yep.
when you do it on sheets though, it should automatically adjust in the main level too, correct?
Yeah, I think so. But here's the thing. So since this is kind of a new toy, they could be two different views. And so one might be sheet specific and then one might be view specific. As long as you get what you want. But I want to go back to the sheet. Now we're not quite done yet, only because, so again, I'm clicking on it and I'm going to do crop region visible as off. Right now, this came in at an 1/8 inch, which is kind of tiny. So go ahead and click on your main floor plan again for me on your sheet. So click on it for me. And you'll know it's selected because the view title gets highlighted. And up here at the top of your properties, do you see where my cursor is right now, how it says 1/8 of an inch? Let's change that to be at least 1/4. And it might go crazy and kind of fall off your screen. So click on your viewport line, or click right on the view, and then see how this turns blue. That's how you know you have it selected. So come back out onto the sheet for me. Okay? And then click here until the sky turns blue, and that's where you know you have it. Click here. So you might be in an active view. I can't really tell. Darlene, give me just a sec. Let me get everybody else caught up. Since you are going back and forth between the two, I don't know where you are. You could try just double clicking on the sheet and that might get you where you need to be. I think that did something. There you go. So for the rest of you, if your view went crazy like mine, what you want to do is click on your view and kind of pull it down where you want it to be. I usually start at the bottom right. And then see how this title's crazy? These two move kind of independently of each other. So take a peek at my screen. When you click on your floor plan, it moves your, sorry, I won't call it floor plan. When you click on your view, it moves your view as well as your view title. But if you just want to move your view title, click just on your view title and then you'll be able to move it. And then look outside the window and you will be shocked. Did anybody bring an umbrella? That was not in the forecast. I hope none of you guys kept your windows down. That's insane. Nice save, Christine. Good. Okay. Britt, a little bit better? Oh, this guy right here? Okay, so first click on it because remember they move independently. Get it where you want it to be. And then after you place it, click back on your view. And you see how this little blue guy highlights? So they're different from each other. I know it's weird. Let me do it again from the top. So you can move this one independently by just clicking on it. But if you want to edit its size, you click on your view. And then this little blue ball pops up and you can change its size from there. Not really intuitive. They seem somewhat disconnected from each other, but.
So what if the blue ball isn't popping up?
So click on your view one more time. Actually, do this for me.
Oh, it did it.
It did it? Okay. Yep. So double click to get off of there. You're still cropping your view, so double click off. Okay, and now click on your drawing. And now, as soon as you click on it, your cursor changes to a move command. And then you can just drag it and move it. Yep.
What if you have a box around your,
Okay, click on your view again. And then come to your properties. And then make sure you turn off crop region visible. So yours right now, and right under extents, I'm sure this one is checked. You just click on your view. Is that what you're asking? So right now, what does it say? Does it say sheet for you? Okay, so you are in your floor plan view. Come back to your sheet. Are you on your sheet and it says floor plan?
Now it's a sheet.
Okay, so once you're in your sheet, click on the view.
Click on the, that's what I didn't know what you mean when you say click on the view.
Dustin, do you mind shutting the door?
Just click in the box with stuff.
Uh-huh. And then it'll pop up. Okay, and now, last but not least, hopefully this is familiar to you. We have a sheet, but we need to print it. So you can click on this little printer here, or you can go up to File, Print, either one. And at home, everybody will be different. So here at school, we have the Adobe Creative Cloud. So everybody will have Adobe PDF here. If you're at home and you don't have Creative Cloud, you won't see this. So this is where you should go to the link I sent you and print off like QD PDF. Because from here on out, I do want you guys to turn in scale drawings, so not just kind of like random screenshots. These printers, the Microsoft to PDF, won't work only because they don't have the right paper size. So QD PDF will have the right paper size. But while we're in the lab, we can try the Adobe PDF. And let's run through these menus real quick. And first,
Sorry, so I unclicked it and it still didn't do anything.
I'm not sure what you, oh, I don't see a box around it anymore. So with your graphic card, as you get close, it highlights.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we always want to combine multiple selected views into a single file. So you'll notice on your homework, please upload a single PDF that has the following sheet. So that's kind of like your keyword there. I want you to take all of these different views and cram them together, okay? So combine multiple selected, and right now I only have that one sheet, but eventually we'll have more. So under print range, go to selected views and sheets and find our I-101 that we just created. Okay, so again, that was under print range, selected views and sheets. Okay. And after you do that, click on Setup for me, which is right here where my cursor is dancing right now. So click on Setup.
Did you get this little, do you want to say these settings?
I did, but I ignored it for now because it's only one sheet. But in a couple weeks when you start working on a particular project that we'll work on over and over again, I'd save it so you can just keep printing the same set out. Now here, this is where I think you guys should be able to do most of this on your own because this is typical print settings. So are we printing letter size? Mm-mm. What we're looking for here is Arch E. Okay. And then it is landscape.
At home I didn't have Arch E. Is there a way to download them?
That's that QD PDF.
Oh, so I have Adobe PDF, but then I have to get QD so I can get the size?
You should be able to, so in Adobe PDF, Arch E should be there.
It should be?
Because we're in Adobe PDF right now. It should be there.
I think at home I was Microsoft PDF.
Ah, that wouldn't be there. Nope. So here's Arch E. And then placement center. And under zoom, always have it be 100%. You never want it to fit to page because then it tricks you. Because you'll print out an 8.5 by 11 and it'll look right because it zoomed it in. I'd rather you guys have a crazy cropped view that you know is wrong, like just get a corner of something. So when it pops up, you'll know, oh, that's not right. Okay? So always zoom 100%. Keep it centered. It may have changed it. So center, zoom. And then after that, we can just go ahead and click OK. Okay. So for me, it also changed it to create separate files. I know it's just one file, but out of habit, I want to do combined files into a single file. And then I'm going to click on OK and tell it where to save it. I'm just going to throw this on the desktop as test. And it should pull up a preview PDF for you. crazy. So mine is doing okay today. So it could be a network thing since everybody's sending theirs at once. So give it a minute and it might go through. If it doesn't, when you're at home, it should work because you shouldn't have everybody using the same network printer. Darlene, did yours eventually go through or did you cancel it? Okay.
So do we save it as?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you tell it where to save it. And I actually hit not from there, a little different. So I went up to File, Print. That wasn't the menu you were on, right? So here is where you tell it where to save it, where it says Browse. Okay. Great. So a little bit of a review. I am done. I'm going to keep recording for 8 minutes and show the quick stare preview, just like I did last time. Again, this part won't be required, but I want to give you guys a hint of where we're going. We probably did too big of a review today. But remember that for this week's assignment, since this is kind of like an accelerated summer class, I'll put in the instructions. So for today's class example, you don't need to go in and put doors and windows or anything like that, or even finish the interior. I just want you guys to print it and set up some of the views. Now for your homework assignment over here, I will want you guys to go through and put in the windows and doors, but you don't need to put in any of the interior components. Like you don't need to go in and lay out the kitchen or put in a sofa, anything like that. At a minimum, I will put this on the instructions. I will have you guys put in the bathtub, the toilet, and the sink, but that's it. The rest of it you can leave, but the windows and doors will take some time. You don't know exactly what the dimensions are, but you guys can get pretty close, just like some of the stuff that we were doing today. So for example, if we guess that this is a 3-foot door, that looks like it's about half. So that's probably an 18-inch or a 12-inch window. And then you can look on the front just to kind of make it look somewhat right, okay? So that's what I'll be looking for next week. And again, you have until next week to post the PDFs for today's exercise as well as the homework that you'll be doing. So you don't have to turn this in before you guys go today.
Do we know how to do furniture? Like, do we get it somewhere, or do we?
Yeah, so if you go into your architectural, so we've kind of done it, but in architecture, let me come over here to our main floor plan. It would just be under the component menu. So we've loaded some stuff before, and I have a desk, but you would, right now I'm under doors. If you go back to your main menu and find furniture, there's some stuff here, but it's not great. There's other places that have far better things. So, but that's to come. All right. Okay, right.
Couple questions. So I need to save this onto my drive.
Okay.